This is the video you should be watching if you are interested to learn about Microsoft Access, SQL, record sets. Hey there, how's it going? Welcome to Looplearnings. And in this video, I'm going to demonstrate how can you update 5 tables in the database with one click. That's why I said this is a video you should be watching. In this video, we are going to focus on the sales order form, and we are going to create an invoice. Talking about the invoice, if you want to learn more about the Microsoft Access and the other technologies, and if you're interested in the valuable content, then you should be subscribing to this channel, and you should be joining this channel as a member to support this channel and support me as well. So that's about invoicing. Well, as some of you know that you have been following this series, that I have created a database in SQL. We have linked that to the Microsoft Access, but I forgot to make one table, and that surprised me when I realized that we did not create the invoice table. So what I did offline, I created a invoice table. Okay, it's very simple. There are 4 or 5 fields, so please do create the invoice table if you are following along. All right, so because this is one of the 5 tables that I spoke in the start that we are going to update with the SQL statements and VBA record sets. Okay, so let me give you a brief what I'm going to do in this video. Basically, if I double click on one of the sales order, we get the sales order form, we get the sales order details, basically what do we have in that sales order. And what we want is we want to click a create invoice button, and we want 5 tables to be updated at same time. So what are those 5 tables? So let me go back to design view of this form, and first table we want to update. So let's go with the sequence. So first table, of course, the sales order table we want to update from new to invoice. That's the status we want to make. And the second table in the sequence is the sales detail. So I double click on that. And again, for one sales order, there might be multiple sales order details lines. So I want to update those statuses from new to invoice. So that also I would like to do that. And the third table I want to update, or sort of I want to create a record, is the invoice table. Okay. And as I said, this is the new table that I have added into the set of tables. And the fourth table I want to update with the new entry, and that is accounting table. Now, accounting table is important. We want to calculate the account payables and account receivables, all of that. We want to capture that into the accounting table. Again, this is not the industry standard. This is the most simplified version of accounting table. All right. Accounting generally doesn't happen in just one table. So there are multiple tables and queries that are created to create the sophisticated accounting mechanism. So please do not take this as a final, industry standard accounting. It's not. And we'll go to the inventory table. This also we want to update. Why? Because if we have sold any item, we want to update the inventory table to inform the sales team, because they are the one, they need to know what stock is available to sell to the customer, right? So we want to update this table to subtract that quantity from the total stock. So that's what we are going to do. You can see that there's a whole lot of things that we are going to do with just one click, and that's the beauty of this video. And you should be watching until the end, because this takes a long time, effort, and thinking. So, I'm just asking you, the least you can do is you watch and give a thumbs up also if you end up liking this content. Okay, let's move ahead. I will stop talking and I will start demonstrating. So I'll go to the design view of the sales form, and I'll click on the create invoice button. Remember the sequence that I explained? We are going to follow the same sequence when we are doing the VBA code. So let's go to the event tab of this button, and let's click on dot dot dot, and we will go to the code builder. Now here we are in the VBA editor. In VBA editor, what are we going to do is we are going to write VBA, right? So before I proceed and write the code to perform and update those 5 tables, I need to have a checkpoint, right? I need to check if the sales order number is provided or not. I need to check if the status of the sales order is new or not. If not, then throw a message box, right? So here we go. So how do we do that? Well, it's quite simple. If nz me dot order id, okay, equals double quote, or me dot status equals invoiced. In any of this situation, we will throw a message box. Okay, we'll say do cmd dot beep and we'll say message box. This action cannot be performed. All right. So let's have. Hey, I've done a mistake. That's why I've just realized. Okay. So here we go. Comma. We be critical. Comma. Information is the title for the message box. Else and if. Okay. Else. If that's false, what do we want to do? Well, we want to then proceed. Go ahead and update the tables and create the invoice, right? So let's go with the first one. First one is quite simple that we want to update the sales table with the status and we'll mark it as, invoice. So I'll say me dot status dot value equals invoiced. Okay, that's it. Done. Now, the better practice of writing the code is that you do the commenting. So, for example, I read a comment here that, we are making this line of code or lines of code to do what? And that is to create, to update the status in the uh, sales order table. All right, that's why. Now, we will have the code. So, I'll copy that, paste in here. We'll have a code to update the sales order table, sales order detail table, sorry, details table. Okay, so in here, we're going to write a few a few lines of code, and that would be SQL statement. And we are going to use SQL statement, but we have to define the variable first. So we'll say dim. Okay, let's switch off this caps lock. Dim um, update SD as string, because this is going to be a record set. Sorry, this is going to be a SQL statement. So we will make it as a string. So we'll say update st equals, and we'll use the statement update. So select statement, update statement, insert statement, delete statement. These are the famous SQL statements that we use to actually perform different actions. So what we want to update what? We want to update the table. What table, sir? We want to update the sales table, sir. So we'll rename it. We'll copy the name of the table. I don't want any mistake. I don't want any error to happen, by the way. And what do we want to update? We want to update the status. So set status equals to invoice. Okay, but I want where clause as well. The reason I want where clause, because we want to find out how many records are actually linked to that particular sales order number, right? So for example, here sales order number 33, and there are only two records. Sales order 2 has three records. So we want to update only the lines or records that have the order number. So that's where we are going to put the where clause. So we'll say where order ID equals ampersand and me dot order oops me dot order ID. Okay. Now we have done that. Now we have to execute that SQL statement. Okay, it won't run on its own, so we have to execute. And to do that, we'll say current db dot execute, and now it will ask what query you want to execute. So we'll say update st. That's the query. Any options you want to provide? Yeah, sure. We want to provide dbc changes. Okay, there you go. So with this two line of codes, we will look into the sales order details records for a specific sales order, and we'll change the status to invoiced. Okay, I hope there's no mistake until now. Let's debug it. Let's see. Nope, nothing. All right, now what next? Well, we are going to update the inventory table. Remember, as I said, where no, sorry, not inventory, invoice table first. So we're going to update the invoice table, and we're going to update with order ID, invoice date, and the invoice value and the status. Okay, so these are the uh, four component or information set of information we will provide, and we will achieve that using the record source. All right, or record set, sorry. No. All right, so dim a invoicing invoicing, you can give any name as a record set. All right, now we will come here and we will have this, and we'll paste in here, and we'll say to update the invoice table. Invoice table. Okay. All right. Now we'll come here, and in here we will write the first of all we'll set the invoicing. Whatever variable we have declared invoicing, we will define that. So we'll say set invoicing equals current db dot open record set parenthesis open parenthesis close, and we'll give a name of the table. So I'm just going to copy the name of the table. We'll say rename and copy in here, comma, and we'll say db open dynaset, comma, db three changes. Okay, there you go. Now we are going to open this record set. So we'll say invoicing invoicing dot open, sorry, invoicing dot add new, not open, invoicing dot date. Okay, so once we have done that, we will now go to the design view of this table, and we'll come here, we'll say order ID. So we'll say invoicing exclamation mark order ID me dot order ID, and then we'll say invoice date. So invoicing exclamation mark, oh, invoice date. That's what we are going to do. Okay, and that would be today. All right, so we'll format the date. So we are going to give the correct formatting, and we'll say day, month, year. Okay, so we'll close the parenthesis. Now value, how do we calculate the value? Right, now we can calculate. Okay, so we'll say invoicing, oops, invoicing exclamation mark value is basically the amount of the sales order, based on the total amount in the sales order details table. Okay, based on that, so uh, we can calculate in a different way. So one of the way we can calculate is dsum. Okay, so we can use the dsum, and we can calculate how much is the total value. What are we calculating? We are calculating the total price. Okay, so that we will give the information here, and comma, what's the table name? Well, table name is, again, I like to copy, so I'll close that, and we'll go to rename, and we'll paste the table name here, comma, any criteria you want to give. Yeah, sure, we have a criteria, and that's the order ID, because this is the unique ID that we are using for the criteria purpose. So we'll say double quote, sorry, we'll say the criteria is order ID equals ampersand me dot. Now that's something wrong. We have to use double quote. Okay. Order ID equals double quote ampersand and me dot order ID. Okay. So that's the criteria. We have to use parenthesis, which I forgot. All right. That seems to be okay. Let's debug it. And yep, it seems to be okay. Now the next one is, what is the next field? Well, invoice. Oh, well, status. So invoicing status, and the invoice status in the start should be new. All right. I we don't want to have the invoice status as close to completed. We'll say new invoice. Well, you can change that, right? According to your requirement, according to your business type, you can change that. But I'm going to keep as new. Okay, so that's pre-table update is done. Now comes the major one, and that is remaining two table, the accounting and the inventory. Now, why I'm saying major, because accounting and inventory both, they want individual line item, which mean we have to declare two variables now. One variable is for the SQL, the other variable is for, actually, no, we have to declare the four variables. All right, just watch now. Okay, so this variable that we are going to write just now will say dim, and we'll say rs as string. So this rs as string is basically the SQL statement which we will use to fetch the record, and we'll use the select statement to fetch the record of the sales order details IDs, sales order details information from this table. So we'll use a record set for that. And then we will combine that SQLs, we will embed SQL statement into the record set. I don't know how much you are able to understand, but just go with me. Let's go with the flow, right? And then we'll say dim rs update, no, dim rs statements, okay, as a record set. I'm just the whenever I pause, I'm just thinking. All right, so I don't want to give you the incorrect information, so that's why I put a lot of effort in that, and that's why I always ask you, please make sure that you subscribe. Dim rs statement as record set. Okay, now these two, what we have declared, will be used in fetching the information from the sales details table and keeping them ready, right? This one, basically, this one. And this one we will use, this variable that we have declared, we will use to run the loop, because you can see that one sales order can have multiple records as its sales order details. So we will run the loop, and we will basically use this rs statement as record set. The other two that I'm going to declare now will be used to add a record in accounting and inventory. Okay, so we'll say dim accounting as a record set, and dim inventory as, okay, we've done a mistake here, dim inventory as a record set. Okay, now let's go ahead and write some code and keep writing. Okay, this will copy the comment and we'll paste here, and we will do the commenting, and we will say to select the records from the sales details table. Okay, and that will be basically uh, rs. Okay, dim rs as string. So we'll say rs equals, and we'll select everything from where? Well, sales details table. Okay, do you have sales details table already? Yeah, we can copy that. Okay, here, where order ID, essentially this is, let me copy this. Okay, guys, please don't mind, I'm just trying to save yours and my time. Can write it, but if something is already written there, why don't we copy it? All right, so where order ID equals order ID. Remember, I have already explained why we have to put where clause. All right, so now we have selected the records. The next thing is we are going to embed this selection of record into the record sets, which we are going to loop through the records. I don't know how much you understood. All right, let's copy the commenting, and let's paste here, and we'll say to loop through the records in the sales details table. Okay, and that would be set rs statements equals current db dot open record set parenthesis open parenthesis close, and now we will put that as rs here, comma, db open dynaset, comma, db c changes. All right. I think db open dynaset is not required, but we'll see if we get any error. Here we have errors certainly. So let's go ahead and figure it out. RS statement. How about, okay, let's keep RS statement. Okay, we'll come here and paste here. Okay, cool. Now, next is we are going to set the table for set the record set for inventory and for the accounting. Okay, so we'll paste here. Okay, to set to declare the variable for accounting. All right, let's copy that so we can paste it for the inventory. I hope you guys are with me. I hope that you are learning. Yeah, it's okay. You can pause, you can go back, rewind. That's the beauty of video content, right? So to declare, so we'll set counting equals current db dot open record set parenthesis open parenthesis close double quote, and where is the accounting? This is the accounting. It's open, so it will not allow us to do the rename thing. So I've closed that. Now let's rename and db open dynaset db c changes. Okay, and in here, what are we going to do is we're going to copy that and we are going to paste in here. And instead of accounting, we'll just simply say inventory and we'll copy the name of the inventory table. Okay, there we go. Oops, sorry, should be here. There you go. Okay, now we have set the scene. Now it's time to actually write the code, update, add records, everything. So how do we write? Well, what we are going to do is first of all, we are going to loop through these sales details table. So we'll open that loop first. So we'll say do until what? RS statements dot end EOF, end of file. Okay, and then we'll say loop. So what we are saying basically to Access that hey Access, we have already told you what does RS statement equals to. Now we want you to actually loop through the records until the file ends, until you start from the top and you keep looping through until it ends. And whatever record you find, you keep that with you. All right. For each record, we are going to use this information and we are going to update the inventory and accounting table. All right. I don't know whether I have explained better. I don't know whether you have understood or not, but trust me, it should work. I'm also hoping, but let's see. Okay, let's keep continuing. Now we are going to open the table accounting. Okay, so we'll say accounting dot uh, add new because we are adding a new record in the accounting, and we'll say accounting dot um, update. Okay, so let's go to the accounting table in the design mode, so I don't have to type reference ID accounting exclamation mark reference ID. It would be order ID. Then we have, okay, let me copy this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I think. Okay. Then next one we have transaction type. And remember, guys, the transaction type to sell is to product ID. And the product ID we are taking from the RS statement. That's why we are using that. So RS statement, uh, sorry, RS statement, exclamation mark, the product ID. Okay. So let me see also here, product ID. Yeah, product ID. Okay. The next one is basically where I am pointing here. Cost price. Now, cost price basically we can get it from the query because we are going to create the queries for the accounting table. So as of now, I'm going to keep cost price as by default 0, because we are going to take the cost price in the queries when we will create later on. But don't worry, I will create it. Okay, I will get the cost price. But as of now, let's keep the cost price equals 0, because right now we are more focused towards selling, right? So we have sold something, we want the selling price. That's what we are focused on more. Cost price we will focus on when we are buying something. You got my point? That's when we will see what is the cost. It is important, cost price is important when we are checking the gross margins and net profits and gross profits. We will get the cost pricing, but through the queries, not like this. Okay, I hope you got my point. Okay. um Cost price, by the way, will be 0 as of now. Selling price would be, we will be getting from the statements, RS statement, but it will not be selling price. Let's go to sales details table. It will be total price. Okay. So that's the table, that's the column we are going to use. Okay. And then last one is status. All right. So status. And the status would be new. Remember why it's new? Because the accounting team will actually verify the information and then they will mark it as completed. So that also we can build that functionality. Okay, now within the loop we have opened the record side accounting table, we have provided this information, we have updated the table. Within that loop we will provide the inventory table detail also. So we'll say inventory dot add new, and we'll say inventory dot date. Okay, in here we will provide the information about the inventory. So where is inventory? Here we go. Let's go to the design view. Okay, and the first one is product ID. So inventory exclamation mark, the product ID equals me dot, not me dot, equals this product ID from this statement. Okay, RS statement exclamation mark product ID. All right, what's next? Transaction date. So that would be today's date. And you must be thinking why we are bothered about transaction date. Well, I'll tell you later on. Inventory exclamation mark transaction date equals format and now, okay, and comma, and we'll do the formatting day, month, year. Okay, great. Next one is transaction type. So we'll have transaction type, which is two. We are selling, right? Then we have quantity. So how much quantity we have sold? Uh, let's take that quantity from the sales details. So this is the quantity. So we'll get the RS statement exclamation mark quantity. Are you with me, guys? Are you with me or not? This is probably the very, very interesting video. All right. Next, what do we have in inventory status? So we'll simply say inventory exclamation mark status equals uh, sold, because in here in inventory we are going to use sold terminologies. Okay, so all right, so now we have open accounting table, we have provided the information, and we have updated the accounting table. We open the inventory table, we provided the information, we updated the inventory table, and then so this is for one record. Remember that if this sales details have, for example, three rows or three line items, this code will run 3 times. It will do the loop 3 times. That's why the loop function is there. Okay. Once we did that, in here we will say rs statement dot move next. Okay. So what it says that, hey, open do this until the end of file, and once you have done with, once you have updated this for one record, check if there is anything else. That's where the loop is. But move next and check. If there is, keep updating. Now, here's the code that I'm going to write, which is perhaps the as important as the code that I've written until now. And that is to close everything that we have opened. close the loop. That's very, very important. If you do not close the loop, let me tell you, your computer will keep updating or creating the record, but it will go because it will go through the loop. So do not forget to close the everything that you have opened. So what you have opened, for example, all the tables you have opened, right? All these variables that you have declared. So these have to be closed. So for example, invoicing has to be closed. RS statement has to be closed. Counting has to be closed. Inventory has to be closed. All right. So let's go here. We'll say invoicing dot close. We'll say RS statement dot close. We'll say accounting dot close. We'll say inventory dot close. Now we will set everything equals nothing. Set invoicing equals nothing. Set RS statement equals nothing. Set counting. This is very, very important, guys. I'm telling you because I've been through there where the computer ran. What did I do? Oh, I messed up some code here. Sorry about that. All right. Um, okay, we come here. Set inventory equals nothing. Once we have done that, now what we can do is we can requery this particular sales, or we don't need to do that, or we can. All right. So list SOD we can requery. So forms exclamation mark uh, SOF and list SOD. All right, that's what it is. List SOD dot requery. Okay, once we have done that, we can update the dashboard as well. So we'll say forms exclamation mark dashboard F. Is it the name dashboard F? Yeah. Let me just copy. I don't want any. Ah, dashboard F. Dashboard F. Okay. Exclamation mark list dot requery. I think that's the name of the list box here. Okay. So that's we are almost done. All right. Do cmd dot beep message box. The sales order has been marked as invoiced, comma, and sorry, dot and comma, VB information, comma, information. All right, that's about it. Let's do the debug, compile, no error as of now. Look at the code. Look at that. Isn't it beautiful? Right. Okay. All right. Well, it will look more beautiful if it will work. So let's go ahead and try it out. So we have debugged it. There's no error, and I'm hoping that it should work. So let's close everything. Okay. Even I would like to close the sales order. All right. Let's open this Robert Downey Jr. and we have two records. Order ID is 3. Just pay attention to that. And now let's click on create invoice. So fingers crossed, hopefully this will work. And we have error. Error is item not found in this collection. Okay, let's debug it. What is it? All right. So inventory quantity, RS statement quantity. Let's close that and let's see. First of all, we will see in the inventory table. Oh, you see here? It says quantity. It's like a full word. It's not QTY. So that's what I've done here. And that's why it got confused. Hey, I don't find it. So let's fix that. You see, these are the things that it's okay. I want this code to, at the end ultimately run successfully. That's okay. These kind of errors fine. Okay, there's something's wrong. Quantity. It should pick up. All right, let's go to the. Let me copy this. All right. I don't know why it's not, but okay, fine. Statement quantity. Let's look at the sales detail table also, just to avoid any sales details. And here it is, quantity. All right. Let's close that, close that, close that, and take two. But the problem is it has already ran through a bit of code, so it has marked it as completed. Now let's go to the sales table and let's mark it as new again. And let me check the sales details table. Yeah, see that code is working. Code is working. We can see that. All right, but it should work fully. All right, let's take two, right? Fingers crossed. Take two. Oh boy, the sales order has been marked as invoice. Let's click OK. No error. All right. Let's click again. Create invoice. This time, this action cannot be performed. So code is worked perfectly. Let's look at this. All right. First, the sales table. It is invoiced. Now let's look at the sales details. It is invoiced. Invoice. Look at this. Order number three. Now invoice table. There you go. This invoice was created, in the first instance. Remember, but it is working. That's good. We are getting the total price also, and then accounting. There you go. We have the accounting. If you're wondering why these are three, there are two records. Well, it already ran once. Remember that? Okay. So that's working. And inventory table, it's working as well. So you can see that it's beautifully has updated five table at the same time. You can see the power of Access, SQL, and record sets. And if you're still watching, well, thank you so much. This has been a really long effort for me to create this video because I was busy and I didn't get time and hope and thankfully it worked. The code that I had been in my mind, it worked. Thank you so much. I really hope that you enjoyed watching as much as I enjoyed writing this code. And if you liked it, whatever you've seen, please make sure that you hit the subscribe button, share it with others, like it, tell me in the comments below, and I'll be looking forward to see your comments. Thank you so much, and I will see you in the next one.